The Syrian Arab Army wins the strategic victory against Al-Qaeda, inflicting heavy losses on the terrorists and controlling the town of Al-Sfira. Bahrain witnesses protest demonstrations in various areas against the detention of the Secretary General of the Society of National Reconciliation, Sheikh Ali Salman. Al Saud forces fire raged in Grenada prison in the north amidst news about acts of disruption whose motives remained unknown, while 2 people were wounded when the security forces opened fire. Good afternoon, welcome to News Bulletin. I'm Dania Nizam. The People Assembly listened in a session headed by Mohammed Jihad Al-Laham to the financial statement concerning the draft law that include the general budget of 2014 fiscal year, which is estimated at 1390 billion Syrian pounds. The Assembly agreed on the draft budget to be 10 billion Syrian pounds compared to the budget being taken in 2013 that was 1,108 billion Syrian pounds. The draft budget to the investment projects estimated at 380 billion Syrian pounds, while it was in the year 2013 275 billion Syrian pounds, with an increase of 105 billion Syrian pounds. The Assembly also estimated the social support draft budget to be 615 billion Syrian pounds, with an increase of 103 billion Syrian pounds of the current year. The Finance Minister, Dr. Ismail, pointed out that the draft budget for 2014 came in accordance with the development and circumstances witnessed by the Syrian economy and the crisis the country is going through, taking into consideration the great increase of many goods and service prices, especially medicine and fuel. The minister asked to study ways to provide new job opportunities to reduce the unemployment and support several commodities to ease the crisis effect and the living conditions on the citizens. Prime Minister Wael inspected the centres of storing and marketing and Al-Hal market in Damascus. The Prime Minister was briefed on the availability of food items and vegetables and on the prices. A Syrian Arab Army unit imposed full control on Al-Sfira town in the Aleppo countryside after defeating the terrorists in their hideouts in the quarters of the city. The army found 6 workshops to make explosive devices, while the engineering units defused more than 700 such devices planted by the terrorists in the streets of the town. The army also confiscated 26 mortar cannons and large stores of heavy ammunition, in addition to heavy weapons of various kinds. The army destroyed heavy equipment, 35 vehicles carrying machine guns and 2 vehicles carrying anti-aircraft guns. The army also confiscated 3 rocket launchers, dozens of Grad missiles and very important documents.
Another new victory was achieved by the Syrian Arab Army in the battle against Al-Qaeda. The Syrian Arab Army imposed full control in the strategic town of Al-Sfira, which used to be the capital of the terrorists in the southeastern countryside of Aleppo and a point of contact with the Turkish border. The Syrian Arab Army units infiltrated the ranks of the terrorists and stationed themselves in strategic points. The importance of Al-Sfira came from its largeness and population. It is described as the eastern gate of Aleppo, Syria's economic capital. The army thus achieved a series of goals, including the consolidation of the armed forces in the north, directing a heavy blow to the terrorists because this town was their operations room, securing the highway from Aleppo to Deir ez-Zor through Al-Raqqa, securing the large industrial and agricultural institutions in that region, and protecting the electric power station feeding Aleppo with more than 1,000 megawatts. The Syrian Arab Army also preserved the security of the highway between Aleppo and Hama. This great achievement opened the gates for attacking the positions of the terrorists in the eastern parts of Aleppo.
After a Syrian Arab Army unit controlled Al-Sfira town in the southeast Aleppo countryside, the people of Al-Waha celebrated the restoration of security and stability and the defeat of the terrorists in Al-Sfira. The people said that they suffered a great deal from the crimes of the terrorists entrenched in El Sfera. The terrorists fired mortar shells and locally made rockets, killing and wounding many innocent victims. The people asserted their determination to continue to support the army against all terrorist gangs until security and stability are restored throughout Syria. A Syrian Arab army unit destroyed groups and hideouts of terrorists in Homs and its countryside, killing and wounding many of them in addition to destroying their equipment. Terrorists were defeated in Bab Houd while other terrorists were chased in Al Qusur. Other Syrian Arab army units inflicted heavy losses in terrorist groups in several villages. They also chased the remaining terrorist gangs in the area of Mahin. They confiscated mortar shells, machine guns and large amounts of different ammunition. The army also defused 17 explosive devices prepared for detonation by remote control along the highway of Sadad Mahin in order to block the progress of our armed forces. In Deir ez-Zor, the Syrian Arab army achieved important progress after controlling the Faculty of Arts in Al-Furat University. The army carried out a series of operations against the terrorist hideouts in various quarters, killing many terrorists, including Ahmed Saleh al-Khlif, Abdel Salam Isa, and Al-Ahmed and Hassan Eid. In Barzeh, Syrian armed forces continued their progress and gained full control on the general establishment of printed materials, the Syrian educational channel, and destroyed a tunnel that was used by terrorists to move and convey weapons and ammunition. After the armed forces and national defense elements removed the besieged civilian citizens from Al-Ma'addamiyya, they began their military operation in this town, which was occupied by Al-Nusra terrorist gangs. The Syrian Arab Army unit made strategic progress in this area in the Damascus countryside. The Syrian Arab Army units achieved great progress in chasing terrorists in the town of Sbene in the southern countryside of Damascus, thus cleaning up the industrial area through destroying several terrorist groups and their hideouts. Syrian Arab Army units eliminated today armed terrorist groups, killing all their members in Damascus countryside, and Daraa foiled their attempts to detonate explosive devices and to attack military posts and seize documents and passports for different non-Syrian terrorists. Syrian Arab Army units repelled terrorist attacks on military points on Al-Salam highway between Qatana and Al-Qunaitra, killing many terrorists. Other Syrian Arab Army units destroyed terrorist hideouts in Khan Sheikh and the farms of Bijin, Hosh al-Abbasiyya and Hine in Damascus countryside. Also, the army foiled attempts by terrorist groups to infiltrate from the village of Al-Hardin into Kanakir, killing most of the terrorists and seizing documents and passports for terrorists holding the Jordanian and Tunisian citizenships, as well as leaflets by Al-Nusra that include instructions on the way of preparing explosive devices and belts, bombs, dynamite and fuses for detonating the explosives. In Daraa, units of the Syrian Arab Army killed many terrorists in the town of Atman on the old road of Damascus, Daraa. In Saudi Arabia, fire raged in Grenada prison in the north amidst news about acts of disruption whose motives were remained unknown, while 2 people were wounded when Al Saud forces opened fire. The disruption began when prisoners set fire to the operations room and 2 other rooms. Prisoners were moved to another area in the prison, and emergency forces imposed a siege. The prisoners are detained under criminal charges. In Bahrain, demonstrations broke out in several areas to condemn the act of summoning Secretary General of the Opposition National Accord Association, Sheikh Ali Salman, by Al Khalifa police, describing the measure as a brazen act aimed at targeting all free men and confiscating their right of political work, pointing out that this irresponsible action indicates the mentality of revenge that dominates the ruling party in Bahrain. The National Democratic Opposition asserted that the act of summoning Sheikh Ali Salman for investigation is a new measure, proving that the Bahraini regime continues in its security solution to strike the peaceful popular movement calling for political, social and economic reforms. The Directorate of Antiquities and Museums regained 69 smuggled artifacts, in addition to 14 statues from Palmyra and 22 potteries that date back to the Bronze and the Roman ages. The Directorate of Antiquities received the archaeological pieces from the Lebanese authorities as part of coordination between the embassies of both countries and the Higher Syrian Lebanese Council in implementation of the international agreement which provides for combating trafficking in antiquities. With this, we end the news for today. Thank you for watching us. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now, after the break, it's over to our business and market news with Vani Konijian. But after this short break, and as always, only victory befits you.
Good afternoon. Damascus countryside governor headed a meeting with the city's industrial council in Adra town. They agreed on the investment system for the drinking water and sanitation. This project will offer services to the industry. Also, it would save time and effort. The investment system will make the land prices in the city stable till the end of the current year. The council decided to ask the commercial bank to open an office for the industry's workers and investors. The Minister of Industry met with the managers of the industrial establishments and representatives from the Reconstruction Committee of the local administration's ministry concerning re-evaluating the damages. He asserted the importance of specifying the reconstruction priorities in all the establishments and reviewing some industries and companies' activities to restructure the industrial sector and benefit from the infrastructure. He added that it is very important to establish industrial sites in the areas where raw materials are available. The Minister of Economy and Foreign Trade discussed with the delegation of the Agriculture Chambers the importance of the agricultural sector in Syria's economy, trade and investments. Moreover, the topics of providing agricultural products, reasonable prices, quality and decreasing production costs were discussed. The President of the Agriculture Chambers Union gave an integrated presentation about the agricultural sector and its contribution to the national economy. The director of the textile industries establishment said that the establishment's exports have risen by 1.5 billion Syrian pounds compared to last year. He pointed out that the establishment's sales until September were 1.7 billion Syrian pounds more than last year. And now over to some main currencies exchange rates according to the bulletin of the Central Bank of Syria. With this, we conclude our news. Thank you for watching and goodbye.